Gambia maa ngi leen nuyu.
Chamyang dandang chamyang cham tabai la mumi dandang chamyang lamin dandang chamyang cham demba kotukala aku gambian ko yeke kilingoti aku artiso yeke kilingoti wolo mala na toti Gambia ye wala tinang ko chamyang alindan nang chamya cham hainang safo nyamoy saf wolom ay.
Hello viewers, welcome to our one-on-one face-to-face tonight with our brother Honorable Mr. Ahmed Scattred Janneh. I call him King of Gunjur. The reason why I call him King of Gunjur, we'll come to that one later on. But it's a pleasure having Mr. Scattred Janneh first time on this episode of South Connect, the People Choice, connecting with the world. Regarding Mr. Scattred Janneh with the ex-regime of the Gambia, and what's the way forward for Mr. Scattred Janneh on this episode. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure introducing you, Gunjur Mansa. How are you? Welcome to the South Connect People. So say hello to the viewers. You know, they're nice and easy.
Well, thank you so much. I'm very grateful to be on this program. I've watched a few of your episodes, and I'm glad to be here. And don't get me in trouble with the Toures and Dabas because they're the leaders in Gunjur.
Yes.
But hopefully we'll start Janneh's becoming kings of Sukuta. But I'm very grateful, and this is a wonderful opportunity.
Thank you very much, Mr. Scattred Janneh. First of all, as it is first time in this episode, we want to know how did it all started for you becoming a minister under the regime of President Janneh?
Well, I used to be very active on, on the internet during the inception of the new regime in 1994.
Okay.
We were some of the first people to criticize the regime when it seized power and to warn the military so that they do not overstay in power.
Yes.
So I became a leading critic of the regime for quite a while. I was writing on the internet using my name, and by 2003 I decided to return to the Gambia, and I worked for the American Embassy. And at the time, my friend Malafi Jaju was a minister in Janneh's government. Marvin.
A very good guy. Marvin, my honor and respect to you. It's been a long time. I haven't seen you around, but, you know, please.
Yeah, so he introduced me to the president, and I understand the president did tell him, this guy is an opposition figure, is in one of our critics, but they later decided, despite that, they wanted for me to bring about changes in the media area. By then, the National Media Commission was the major issue, and they thought I'd be able to bring about some solution to it.
So this is why they bring you to the Ministry of
Information and Technology. That was my understanding when Malafi made the introduction.
So what happened after being, appointed as the Minister of Information and Technology? From there, what's happened? What's the problem? What's the fallout?
I don't know why Janneh was surprised. One, I was already a critic of the government when he hired me, and I also worked at the American Embassy. But because I worked very closely with the Gambia Press Union and the US and British diplomatic missions here to try to push for changes in the media sector, he ultimately decided to change the constitution and do away with the National Media Commission. But by the same token, because of my closeness to the U.S. Embassy, I was fired. The official reason was for providing sensitive information to a foreign embassy. Essentially, that I was a spy of the American regime. But you hire an American citizen from an American embassy who was a critic of the regime, and now you accuse him of spying.
Right,
but that's how it went, and then I went on my business and left them alone.
No, but they said, well, how come these TSAT issues? Because
Yes.
for me personally, during those days, I was saying, come on, if Mr. Scattred want to be an opposition at that time, don't bring yourself into this TSAT saga that, you know, lead you into leaving the country and some people in trouble. I was thinking the best way forward was, it was few months before the election. Not right?
Yeah, election year.
Yeah, election year. So you could just come and, you know, form your own party.
Well, we
Before,
had
rather than giving out T-shirts and they says it's not.
well, we had a dictatorship, a ruthless dictatorship. We've seen people disappearing simply for criticizing the government. Others got killed for expressing views that the president did not like, and we know that the stacks were. You know, against the politicians, opposition politicians. It also coincided with the Arab Spring. There's a lot of agitation, civil society contributing to change. And despite all of that, wearing a T-shirt saying "end dictatorship," distributing those, isn't something that warrants a treason charge, sedition. It is an act that is protected by our constitution. So I was exercising my democratic right to express how I saw the government and that we should end the dictatorship. So that was several years after I left government, of course. That's 2011, and I was fired in 2005. So it's a long period. But I thought something had to be done. But it's not just the T-shirt. I also bought equipment to set up a radio station in Senegal, because I knew he was shutting down radio stations here. We set up a website, changegambia.org, and we organized meetings. It was not just me, but several others in the diaspora, particularly.
So you were really
I was the one based here, but we were planning to do a whole lot more, and I started speaking out at the University of the Gambia on African Liberation Day, and basically gearing up for some kind of civil disobedience. And that's what they realized. The sum total of the T-shirts, what we had written on the on our websites, and the fact that we bought radio station equipment, Janneh knew clearly we were looking at what was going in the Arab world, and that's why he wanted to set an example.
So you were arrested and detained. How did you get bail?
No bail. With treason, they made sure they charged me with treason, and with treason there's no bail. So for the first week, essentially, they made me disappear because the government did not admit that they even had me in custody. So I was taken to the old airport terminal. There's an old...
In the Gambia?
Yeah, the old airport building. You have some cells there, and I never knew. When I saw them taking me toward the airport, I thought they were going to just deport me, and I was kind of excited until we went to the old building, and then I discovered they have 4 cells there, and that's where I was kept for 1 week. So my family members, the American embassy, you know, sent their folks looking for me, but no one thought I could be at the old airport terminal. But that's where I was kept for 1 week, and no opportunity to shower, mosquitoes, very tough conditions. But after 1 week with the pressure, they decided to put me on GRTS to show the world that I was alive, because by then Freedom and other papers online had written that I was already killed. But after 1 week, they took me on GRTS to show that I was alive. Then I was transferred to Bambadinka.
Where is Bambadinka?
Bambadinka, I understand there are 2, but the one that I was taken to is at Joshua Prisons. Yeah, and it's not just a nickname. You have the letters written on the building, Bambadinka, and it's the toughest part of the prison system in the Gambia. It's a very old building, a small building by itself, and it's meant for solitary confinement. They put you there. You don't interact with other prisoners. You don't interact with anyone. No access to radio, nothing. And they just give you a container to be using when you need to, ease yourself. And mosquitoes and yeah, when it rained, I got soaked. Wall geckos everywhere, all over the place. Yeah, yeah. But that's where I was kept. I spent 7 months
in there.
Yeah, in there. And during that time, I had very little access to my lawyer. It was very difficult to even see my lawyer. And the American embassy also did all they could. Since I'm a U.S. citizen, it was very hard for them to see me as well. So I was in solitary confinement there for 7 months in my building. Nothing to do with other prisoners, just me. Yeah. I did 2 eats there. Yeah. Well, one I did Korite there. Yeah.
And Tobaski, of course.
Yeah, and then I went to Mile 2. I did both Tobaski and Korite there.
How long was this together?
15 months. By coincidence, I spent 15 months as a minister and 15 months at Mile 2. Exactly 15 months.
Oh my God. Oh,
exactly 15 months.
This Gunjur King has definitely been through a lot. So, how free then?
Well, when I was taken in, because I was campaigning for the rights of prisoners to be respected, for freedom of expression, things like that.
Prison there?
That's what got me in prison.
Yeah, okay.
And therefore, many organizations like Amnesty International and, of course, the U.S. Embassy and groups around the world started to campaign on my behalf. And after Janneh executed 9 prisoners in August 2012, I was there. After the executions,
was it really execution? We were thinking.
Well, I saw them being taken out, but how they got killed, I can't say. But I know they were taken out, and one of them, Lamin Dabo from Bakote, was screaming, "Oh, Amadou Katamfale," and started screaming. And so I saw them being taken away in chains and forced out. So when the execution took place in August 2012, there was a lot more international attention on the Gambia, and that got the U.S. also to put more pressure. And Reverend Jesse Jackson, a civil rights leader in the U.S., decided to come here, and he was able to secure my release together with Tamsir Jase. And that release also coincided with my birthday. So if Janneh had known it was my birthday, he would have kept me an extra day. But I was freed on my birthday.
What a sad story to hear. And then the coincidence, the 15 months being a president and also 15 months in jail, and you free on your birthday. That's why I said Gunjur Mansa.
No.
But big and serious Gunjur Mansa. Kabiring, Kabiring, this guy. Shouted this Lamin Dabo shouted about Katamfale. That time, emotionally, how did you feel of yourself, your position?
Well, wawatola yalo ikasila le yeta fo ibikasila koteke. Kadunte Janneh bemutala hanien samba police station o ikamol muta dami ngal nente hani la fonka sutia. Barbiriente muta yem folondi bambadinka la prisoner fon be kasila. Jela dol bije ni ko turo ke warange samba je sita turo ke fengo bek. So ni e folondi woto ite silandi la no kotek. Ndu ngaje be mo sambale katefa nyindom bento wurla ngalon ko feret je kumboten kanandil. So ndafana telefono bembulu mabori nga ta woleto nga dunia mol kumandi journalist ol ni human rights group on seminu kumandi no nga fo ko nyinni yol bondile katefa. Nga den nganda mol fana commanding ko nalma moy ntemantare kaminu fa barimbe telefono nyun tinyala lay bojan katu nyiento commandi nyami ibina yalla so wo kolan tuta mini na selol kono of course moment sino no kotek
that must be so sad. What's the way forward for Mr. Amadou Scattred, Janneh? Are your political ambition, you still want to carry on?
Well, I never had any political ambitions at the time. I was only, and even now, I was only fighting for things like freedom of expression, for better prison conditions, for there to be investigations into the disappearances and a stop to the killings. That's why we formed the Coalition for Change the Gambia. Instead of a political party, it was non-partisan. And that's what I continued. 3 weeks after I was released, I went around the world, starting from the Ivory Coast. So I've been to the Ivory Coast, to Belgium, Switzerland, all over the U.S. and many other countries.
Everybody says
and that's what I had been doing, non-partisan. And we also organized to bring all of the opposition leaders together. First time in New York, and then the last one was 6 months before the election in Dakar, for them to come together. So those are some of the things I've continued. Upon my return here, I visited Tanka Psychiatric Hospital.
Yes.
We went there with GRTS to expose. Right. And then after that, also the Mile 2 prisons, we went there to perform Eid. So those are the types of things, and of course the environmental issue in Gunjur, things that are non-partisan and of concern to all Gambians. And I can do that at the same time continue my activities as an entrepreneur, as a capitalist.
All right.
Yes.
So how is your relationship with the new government?
Well, I am very glad, and we all have to support the new government. As I told you, we were involved in campaigns to unseat the previous regime,
yes.
Going to Geneva to get the EU to block funding to Yahya Jammeh, submitting reports to the UN Human Rights Commission, and following Jammeh around the world. So we developed a relation with many of the political actors now, from trying to bring them together in Dakar and New York. And our role now is to support them in everything they're doing, particularly in moving the country forward. But it also means if they're your friends and your partners, if you want for them to succeed, if you see anything that's not going right, you criticize them. We don't want to be praise singers, and they know at least that about us. We're friends, have contacts with many of them, we stay in touch, but when there's something where we need to criticize, we'll do. Where we need to support, we'll do that as well.
Following Jammeh around the world must be very expensive. How did you travel around following Jammeh? How did that go?
Well, a lot of goodwill. Initially at my own expense. My wife helped a little bit, but CCG also managed, we wrote grant proposals and got support from organizations like the Open Society Foundation. They paid for to publish my book. They paid for many of our trips. They paid for us to take the government to court, and then we had some other human rights groups in the U.S., Civicus, Freedom House, Human Rights Watch, all of them pitched in. But as far as traveling, there's also a guy from Gunjur called Bala Musa Toure. He works for United Airlines. He saw how much I was spending with the tickets, and got me some kind of arrangement where I pay very little to fly overseas.
Oh, okay.
So I used that for several years.
That's good,
yes.
Congrats to Balamusa, Tompo Balamusa. I never seen him, but watch for me too, Balamusa, okay?
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Scattred, okay. Don't you think it was good to be part of this coalition government too, or?
Well, I didn't engage in what I was doing for a government position. I'd been minister already, and after government, I was doing very well with my business. That's why I got enough left over to be buying radio station equipment and engage in other activities. And I also began to enjoy the freedom that comes with running your own enterprise. You have a great deal of freedom, leeway. I can just get up and go to the U.S. for 1 month, come back, and I have family in both countries and also in Senegal. So this allows me to do that.
You have family in Senegal too?
My wife is Senegalese. My wife is Senegalese.
I thought he's an U.S. American. Or?
Yeah, American citizen like me, but from Senegal.
Okay, what's her name?
Mam Kouate or Fatou Kouate.
Mam Fatou Kouate, yes. Jabaram joge Senegal.
You bari ham nañ ko fi because she used to run a classy lady here. So she knows quite a few people here.
Classy lady.
Yeah, classy lady and classy decor. So,
Yes,
yes,
yes.
by the Sabina Junction.
Well, Ma'am Fatou, gis naa ni nga jàppale buur Gunjur laa ko wooye leer na tam xam nga rek am na ko rek am na doole, you know, continuer rek di si jàpp rek ah inshallah, you know, nga dem dëkk Gunjur tam dëkkam bi neex na jërëjëf. So Mr. Scattred, now we had that part in US, your contribution and so on. I'm sure you still have some friends in the new coalition government as well.
Yeah, most of them are my friends. I call them friends.
So you will be supporting them and till they
Yeah.
go off the road.
Yeah,
they
but
will
I
hear
think-
Scattred again.
Yeah, I think they're doing a good job so far. It's not
Yes.
easy to take over from a tyrannical regime, especially when that was in place for 22 years,
That's
very
very
destructive.
true. That's true.
So, you know, we have to be patient a bit, but that does not mean just blindly following them. When they go in areas, you know, we have to put pressure to keep them on track. But I'm confident that they have the country's best interests at heart, but we have to, you know, push them, keep them in check. That's the best thing for them. That's the only way they can succeed, to have people who act as watchdogs.
Thank you. Many people ask me this question, why did Amadou Janneh call for strike or demonstration in Gunjur? I didn't know you ever do it or you call or whatever. Have you been into any something similar like this?
You mean in relation to the Gunjur beach issue?
Yes.
No, in fact, I did not call for any demonstrations. There's not been any demonstration. We are the ones telling the youth that there are steps you have to follow to bring about change. You have to be disciplined, you have to stay on message and engage the authorities, engage even the Golden Leaf, the Chinese company. And that's why they're very active on social media, putting out information, talking, and even the program that GRTS organized over there was paid entirely by us.
Okay.
We provided the chairs, the tents, and still invited guests from all sides.
Yes.
Yeah, as you could tell, it was very controversial,
That's
but
right.
we were the ones who extended all of the invitations to get both sides, and we paid for everything. So it was meant to get the Gambian community to hear both sides, because we knew we were on the right track. But no demonstrations. We've told these guys there are processes that we have to follow. When all of those are exhausted and there's no progress, then you can justify demonstrations and, you know, civil disobedience. But even then, it has to be disciplined, peaceful, and not disruptive. And that's what's going on. You know, we may end up filing a lawsuit and things like that, but nothing destructive. This is a democratic government, and we know the government is responsive, so we have to make all use of the mechanisms that are available to change, to bring about change.
That is clear from Mr. Scattred Janneh, those who think he was the one funding for demonstration or to march. You heard that one. This is why it's always good to hear from both sides. We didn't have the opportunity to meet him when we went to Gunjur, because I was like, where to start and who to meet. You know, when you have all your friends actually out of country, and he said, let me go there and do a fact finding. Okay. But for me now, I've been there like a couple of times. The last time I was supposed to meet you, I said to the very, and that t-shirt couldn't they started a title and so on. But for me now, Mr. Scattred, okay, in one way or the other, there are people benefiting in the Golden.
Definitely.
Some are getting disturbed. Okay, what do you think, your personal, what's your personal take now for the way forward, a win-win situation in this Golden issue in Gunjur?
I think
What
if
would
we
you advise? What do you
go
say?
by the laws of the Gambia, the company violated the terms of agreement by establishing that pipe that went from their facility into the sea.
Yes.
Disposing of waste into the sea. So I understand they're going to remove it, or they've removed it.
Off now.
Okay. So what they should do, and this is consistent with the laws, is to clean up the mess that they created. There ought to be a fine for them to clean up the mess they created, and also to restore the area back to its normal status, because a lot of the fauna and flora have been destroyed there, but they need to bring it back to what it was. And also contain, find ways to better manage their waste. And of course, the main concern for many villagers is the smell, the foul smell that the factory emits. I'm sure that most people in Gunjur, if they're able to contain the smell, they're able to better manage the waste, they pay for the damage they've done and restore the area, they'd be very content, because it's our relatives who are working there. And we want to see investors come to the area, but they have to be responsible investors. We don't want those who would come there, invest, and then we end up, getting diseases and have our areas destroyed. But if they're able to do that, there would be room for accommodation.
That's true. Because my take, before I went to that place, it's like I see posts on the Facebook and I just get annoyed. Right? Anything I want to.
Yes.
I call everything.
Yeah.
So one day I said, you know what? Gunjur is my town. I must go there. I said to this team, hey, today let's go to Gunjur. Let's go and find. But, I think I did it in what we say in Mandinka. I went to the chief and then tried to look the way around and find out. But after, on my own arrival there, I tried to see, I have seen changes.
Yes.
Like the other day also, we went with Badara. Inside the factory, the pictures Badara got and what's in there now is changed. So we were trying to bring people together. I said, Badara, when you entered here already, that looks like your first time, Bajo, to enter here. There's a class, family classes, like Badara and the other guys. I said, hey, Gunjur, calm down. Let's just see. Me never care in ya. Nimbarre min for ninto nyalam. Naka tinyarole. Ali leza safanyini ya wodoku.
Just NEA, government agency, wole fa tata je ye la study ke fo ya safe fo nyunu samba court because ya je ko biri be laisino sotole nyanta minu be ke lay make tinyarok. So wole fa ye samba court before ntol bital. Then inata ya settle out of court. Bari toli ane pipe tali ya kiba kono kataje ni kwelu bije. So katadore ya bondi amanke eta sunyaro ke dulati nye mutadore ko ke saingam fonyo sunyaro lele continue. Wala nlua bije be ponis la olale ye maybe min sunya ya sendi wosifa. Bari titale pipe wutu ay woti nyaro ke nyel bije furel dula beto iko ke saingo nga kumasku. Ndun sunkan hanim bi wofana kata sa teto. So for a wolfana be fale. One
advice to the people of Gunjur.
Okay.
One advice to Golden Lead.
Okay.
One advice to the Gambia as a general, Dr. Scattred Janneh.
Well, as far as Gunjur, I wouldn't make it one advice. One would be that all of the people of Gunjur have to come together and work for the interests of the community. We have many people who are skilled and have resources, and I believe with the new dispensation, Gunjur will only advance. And we're here, we're determined, we'll do everything, we'll reach out to all sides, make sure that we forge ahead. As far as the Golden Lead and Gunjur Beach issue is concerned, I'm sure we will ultimately resolve it, because there is no way the Chinese company could prevail to maintain the level of destruction it was on the path. So there has to be some accommodation. They may not be expelled, but the pollution would have to stop. There is no two ways about that. That would have to stop. That way they can continue to employ our brothers and sisters. So Golden Lead Company needs to find a way to stop destroying the environment to pay fines that would be used to restore what they've already, the damage they've already done, and with that forge a better relationship with the community, because we all have the same interest: employment for our folks and soon profit for Golden Lead Company. And the Gambia in general, I know there's a lot of expectations with the new government, but we have to realize that a few months ago, many of us would not dare step foot here. And the fact that you have GRTS covering individuals criticizing the president, criticizing government ministers, giving opponents of the regime a platform, shows that we've come a long way. But we have to give the new government some leeway, encourage them, support them, and I think we're heading in the right direction. Many of us are very impatient. We want to see lots of changes, myself included, within a very short period of time, but we still have to realize that they came from a very long way. But that also does not mean that we won't criticize the government. Even though we've supported the various parties, the various individuals up to this stage, when we see something wrong, we have to point it out, we have to criticize. That does not mean you're anti-government. It may even mean you want for them to succeed. That's why you're pointing to their flaws and sharing your ideas.
Thank you very much, Dr. Amadou Scattred Janneh. Are we going to see next 5 years Scattred Janneh's party on?
That I don't know, but I know I do not have any political ambitions myself. But to be part of a party could be one of the existing parties to help them reform. All those are possibilities, but for now, humanitarian and human rights matters.
Nice meeting him for the first time, the King of Gunjur.
Thank you, Sukutama.
I'm happy, I'm very happy,
Thank you.
said, and everything here is nice and easy, well understood. We thank you for giving us this opportunity to be on Choice Africa TV.
Thank you so much.
God bless you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.